Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to talk a little bit about gatekeeping. Gatekeeping is something that is huge within the LGBTQIA community, and especially for transgender individuals. It also has a lot to do with non-binary because of the simple fact that some non-binary individuals do want some trans related surgeries and others don't, and there's the whole part of fitting in and this and that and society's view of what people should look like or act like, or the whole stereotypical views that I'm literally against. But what does gatekeeping mean, and how to avoid being a gatekeeper to allow for a more inclusive queer community? Queer terminologies have been popularized over the years. It can be hard to keep up with them all, especially if you are not totally absorbed in the LGBTQIA plus culture or the rainbow community. You may not appreciate these lesser known definitions. One such term is gatekeeping. So we are going to define and cover what does gatekeeping mean, and then provide some tips to help you avoid being a gatekeeper and to allow for a more inclusive community. When someone decides who has access or rights to a group or identity, or disputes the legitimacy of an individual's lived experiences, this is known as gatekeeping. It's when someone tries to place restrictions on what it means to be a member of the LGBTQIA plus community. The language people use about particular groups, discriminatory rules, and people working to exclude others based on their own preconceptions and assumptions are all examples of gatekeeping. It can also be done for a variety of other reasons, such as unconscious or conscious assumptions and bias, a lack of understanding or knowledge, societal expectations, or even plain simple ignorance. In practice, this can be divided into two types. To begin, medical gatekeeping refers to cisgender health professionals attempting to prevent transgender people from receiving gender-affirming resources like hormone replacement therapy, also known as HRT. They do this by citing different excuses, such as the person being too young, being mentally ill, claiming that an individual isn't distressed or dysphoric enough, being non-binary, or not having spent enough time since social transitioning. Second, gatekeeping occurs when certain members of a group or community regard others as invalid members and attempt to prevent them from entering the community and its spaces related to it. TERFs, trans exclusionary radical feminists, aka transphobes, for example, may attempt to prevent trans women from accessing women's spaces. It's nothing new for members of the LGBTQIA plus community to act as gatekeepers. It's been going on since Stonewall and far, far before. There have always been those who believe they should be the ones to judge who is and isn't part of the queer community. To be clear, we're not referring to folks who don't want the movement to be co-opted by straight cisgender people. We're not talking about catering to all those who say we should have a straight pride. We're referring to people like macho guy males condemning gay men who wear drag or otherwise express feminine characteristics, labeling them a disgrace or a stereotype, and condemning them for how they're mistreated for failing to meet society's masculine norms. We're talking about feminine gay guys who ridicule straight passing men, referring to them as self-hating individuals that don't belong to the community and don't need the support of their peers. Gatekeeping refers also to lesbians in a habit of shaming each other for apparently being basically straight or too butch, for an example. While there are many forms of gatekeeping in the queer community, it isn't possible to put them all here. There is no way I can literally do a video on all the types of gatekeeping. But one of the simplest descriptions of the term would be invalidation of someone's experiences of the LGBTQIA plus community by another community member. Gatekeeping extends beyond what other people believe of your identity and how you should define it. Gatekeeping can be used as a weapon to prevent particular members of the LGBTQIA plus community from participating in pride celebrations, which can lead to the suppression and erasure of specific identities, because many individuals use it to verify if others have the right to access a community. Things like bi erasure are a real and persistent threat. Just simply let LGBTQIA plus people be. Just let them live. Just let them be. Remember that even if the rainbow-wearing couple at the beer garden is in an opposite-sex relationship, one or both of them could be a member of the LGBTQIA community. People who are polyamorous, bisexual, pansexual, queer, omnisexual, sexually fluid, asexual, and aromantic exist and thrive in the same community, but their sexuality may not always be overtly obvious. It's important to discern someone's gender or sexuality, or it's impossible to discern someone's gender or sexuality just by looking at them. It doesn't indicate they are a straight couple just because they're holding hands with someone that appears to you to be of the opposing gender. Invading a person's or a couple's privacy to inquire about their sexuality, non-sexuality, gender, or any other part of their identity makes them feel insecure, vulnerable, and isolated. In any case, you aren't an identity detective. Challenging another person's right to attend LGBTQIA plus events might make them feel insecure about their place in the group, or make them feel compelled to hide parts of their identity or the whole of it. Gatekeeping isn't something that only pansexual, aromantic, bisexual, omnisexual, and asexual people have to deal with. Many lesbians also bear the burden of lesbian-phobic attacks on their identity, as well as explicit gatekeeping. Not only do these attacks put lesbians' lives in jeopardy, but they also have the potential to spread throughout the community. They perpetrate a toxic environment and promote negative preconceptions about other LGBTQ plus people. It can be easy to reject other people's problems based on your identity within the LGBTQIA community, but it's critical to listen to others and actively educate yourself about the prejudice they suffer. A community is made up of different people, and the LGBTQ plus community is made up of a diverse range of identities and individuals. Gatekeeping those whose identities aren't apparently visible to everyone is bad for the entire community's health. With that said, not seeming queer or queer enough all of the time or ever shouldn't put anyone at risk of gatekeeping. And if you do mistakenly upset someone, whether by gatekeeping or doing something that offends them, make sure you apologize and own up to your error. Keep things simple. Listen, be accountable, and resolve to improve. That involves listening to the person that you upset. And even if you didn't mean to, admit you were wrong and learn from the mistakes in order to improve in the future. Members of the LGBTQ plus community are discriminated against in addition to being stigmatized, stereotyped by society, and fetishized by pop culture. Everybody in the LGBTQ plus community may utilize their voices, both actively and passively, to oppose the issue that all affect us all in different ways. Then do better as we move into the future. If you've been a gatekeeper, try not to be that person that invalidated another person's experiences based on only your knowledge or lack of it. Allow people to immerse fully into their experiences and live the life they want. It is better to support people rather than to create a harmful environment for them. Have a good day, everybody, and stay safe.